us and hear us. Have to remind Pastor that you guys can see us and hear us.
That was an
You always catch us doing something.
unexpected change in sound.
All right, guys. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody.
We keep trying to start like we're going to be professional, but it never happens. So we just do a quick try. Good morning, sister and brother-in-law. The early birds this morning. I thought I'd play a little bit of something to give you guys time to get here and get situated. And let's see who's second one of the son. Good morning. Deb. Hey, Deb. Hey, Bradburn. Had you on my mind all day yesterday, young lady. Hey, Jill. John Greason's in the house. Mr. Jones in the house. Mr. George. Hey, Mr. George. Apostle Norman. Are you at home yet or still road running? What are you doing? Good morning, sweetheart. Good morning. Hey, Majori. Hey, sweetheart. Had you in my heart yesterday and the day before as well. Sounded shopping? Oh. Still? Tell me if we sound bad, guys. Jill said we sound choppy. Do all of you hear us like it sounds like it? Let me see what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. We got everything set, right? So I'm not sure. Let me know if it's any better. I just hit another button. I don't know if that did it. Yeah, they're all saying they're having trouble hearing me. Let's see if my mic's on. Everything's on. Everything's on. Let me know. Says they can barely hear us. Huh. Good now. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
I don't know what was going on, but okay. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. And let's see who else has come in here. Buzz. Hey, Buzz.
Dr. Buzz.
Yeah, Buzz is in. And but Pastor Norman, you still out of town. My goodness, young man. Katrina Allen.
Miss Katrina.
Can you hear us now, sweetheart? Make sure that you can.
Miss
And
Kelly.
Hey, Sid. Hey, sweetheart.
Good to see you.
Hey, sis Chris. I meant to call you yesterday, honey bun. Got to talk to you. See how you doing. All right. Dee Dee says it's good now. Kelly says it's clear. Okay, good. Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, Lady Gwen. All right.
Okay, Lady Gwen.
Okay. I'm glad
Phyllis
you guys
Torrance.
are here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, Phyllis and Edward, they just came in. Good to see you guys here with us this morning. What we talking about today?
Okay.
We got baby girl, of course, in here, so you might hear her doing something, barking or whatever.
Somebody was talking to me about faith, the way they see it. Sister Leslie, we thank you for the mail that came yesterday, the gift. Thank you for trying everything that you could do to help. I mentioned a certain one that I'm believing for a certain sum of money to come in to assist us on Cash App or our personal use. Thank you so much, all of you that did that. And thinking about it, we still have time. You still have time to do it. There's no such thing as a limit time for that, but we appreciate everything. Here's some things I'm going to say to you today about your power or the power that you are that has something to do with your accomplishment after you leave the portals of faith. There is something about your essence that is structured into the weave of the garment that you wear and can never take it off. And what we're going to talk about just a little bit and touch on is we're going into an area of one of the richest mine deposits or the richest ground that you could ever walk in from your heart up. light being, and from the heart down, it is the dark areas. But in the dark area, God still, your eternal self still is there. I need to say to all of you, and any of you who are in church or out of church, doesn't make any difference about what I'm getting ready to say to you. You cannot turn God on and off like we have been practicing. You cannot stop the flow of God just because the atmosphere is not right. And you may want the atmosphere right and then use that, because if you listen, if you using the presence of God based on physical things taking place in your church, like music, certain types of preacher, praise and worship service, you're not operating in your mature, grown folks' potential. The potential of God is not designed, even though in the New Old Testament they had manifestation, but the goal of all of those manifestations in the old days was to bring you to the culmination of beingness, absoluteness, and there-ness, alreadiness, no losingness, but always in the place where God's address is your address, and there's no distance. In the new part of the new book, the New Testament, space that wanted to be filled in the Old Testament by clouds, and that don't misunderstand, we're not shutting it off. We still can have those, but we are not to measure on the minor. So there in the Old Testament, old book, old days, people had to have space filled because they was in that law in that area. But nowadays, now at this moment in time, the space in between every word that God said or every time element, God is making it known to us that he feels all things, and he wants you guys, all of us, to understand what it means to have God 24/7 in the form of your essence that cannot be decreased or increased based on environmental circumstances. I want you guys to get that, because who I'm talking to on the online this morning is called the you. There's a you from the hip up, from the hip down, and from the heart up. This is a contrary opposites, but still function in a part of God that cannot change because it's dark, cannot change because you're sick, body, cannot change because the doctor has pronounced some bad information on you. That is not enough for you to divorce God. He will never divorce you. He can't, because he is you. He is the you that I'm talking to now. So I can call you you without even a name. We use our names on paperwork, signatures, but this thing that I'm talking about, I saw it in the spirit world. God signatured himself as the presence of you. Mm, mm, mm. When you learn how to hear God for you out of the same mouth, out of the same glass. Now, watch this. You cannot go to the kitchen or the refrigerator and get a glass of water with ice in it or whatever you want in it. You cannot, even if you had moonshine in it, you cannot opt God out because the music is not up to a certain standard, or the COVID is there and you have to sit away from each other. I'm telling you, when I saw this, go to the mystical side of the presence of God that will not, God is at, let me tell you, when I was living in the moonshine house, God was there and could not be omitted. You know, we read it, David said, if I make my bed in hell, he's there. You cannot, and I want you guys to rest. This is a rest information I'm giving you. We are facts and not beliefs, not hope. You can be all of that. be anything you want to in your eternal self. But some of us learn this thing about faith and speaking the things into existence to a degree that we have called them to be idols and worships. There is one part of your life that can never be an idol, and it can never be a mistake. It can never be a place in you. And this is what I'm getting ready to say to you again, where you lose God and get him back. Okay? We are the facts and the acts of God, movement of God. Unbelief is trying to get faith and trying to get things from God that you already are in your eternal essence. I'm going to say it again. We are facts, faith, hope, and charity operate through love. But love is a fact. If you go to faith, it's there. Impossible to please him without faith. Okay, I fix it for you. It's impossible to go into love and not have faith. Love operates faith. Some of these people, some of you guys operate in faith. You can do it because of the what you call practice, principle, and technique. Mm-hmm. But what I'm talking about in love, eternal love covers faith, hope, and charity. That side of you function in every area of the heavenly realm. Beyond faith and hope is facts. That you are the facts of God. Finding out that you are facts, and then move in just a little and bit, then trying to get God to do things by force. We always say, keep pounding on it, keep knocking on it, and he'll answer you. First of all, if God inside of you is already the answer, why are you trying to get the answer? There's something going on in your head that gives off the idea that I sought God and he heard me, and he heard me because I got what I asked for. That's not faith. The fact of it is, you were heard from the very thought of your mind and in any form of you. That God is not somebody that just once in a while get in on us. He's not something that when he finally walk up to us, then we got it. When the distance between us and God, I'm saying to you, must be removed. There should not be a middleman, because he also tells us in the book, we are all intercessors. We are all priests and kings.
Yeah. And Jesus also said, we are the light of the world.
There you go.
So we all look for light, but we are that light.
When the wise men wanted to find the baby Jesus, didn't have no street lights. The light was them in the form of an angel of light. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this to you because I want you guys to see Jesus, see God, whatever name you want to use. I want you to see him and never, ever lose sight of him. I want you to get God's address and have no hesitation about it, about his way he is. Mm-hmm. His beingness is your essence. His alreadiness is your absoluteness. His absoluteness is never leave you, shouldn't even be mentioned. Leaving, God being blotted out. We always say your name is in the book of life, and that's going to be blotted out. I don't care if your name was blotted out. You can't be blotted out as your eternal essence. I remember when I was over there in out-of-body experience, and I was sitting at the table, to sign some documents. I read the documents and they was in fine print, and in fine print, I could sit up straight and read the contracts without even focusing. The focusing aspect of me was my spirit identity, my spirit body. It automatically focused in on the fine print. But when I got ready to sign my name, a hand of God come from my right side and stopped me from signing it. And when he did that, he come in with a stamp, approved. Because I was asking him about the gifts of the Spirit, the power of God working through me. I had seen it and I wanted an increase. And I was wondering, how could I fulfill the contract on that paper that would make that a fact? And just as I'm thinking the old way, that I must find something to fill the space or the gap between the time I pray and the manifestation of what I'm praying for or asking for or seeking for. The hand come from the side, and it was the blood of Jesus. Blood symbolizes the life, the water and life of God, identity in us. He stamped it on the dotted line, and he said with the stamp, you will not have to fulfill the small print on this contract. He said, I will be in you as you, doing it through you. I had to put my pen down, but here's what I tried to do. Coming back through the channel that I went through in, I wanted to bring that piece of paper. I grabbed it like this. When I grabbed it, as I got over onto this side, gradually the paper tore in half. And it slipped out of my hand. Come home. Come home. Your consciousness is waiting for your attention. Glory be to God. Glory be to God. Glory be to God. You are the faith of God. So stop trying to get more. We think that if we read and study and can quote the scripts, I was like that. I've studied guys who could quote whole pages of the Bible. That's a trick of your ego to get you to get so caught up with ink and paper. Yes, the Bible is true. And not only that, what is true in your auto mechanic shop, what is true in the service department of your automobile, that's true. But there's a different kind of truth that we're talking about that is eternal life. Eternal life does not ever come and go. I'm going to tell you something else. And I want my wife to come in here if you can. But
I'm trying to.
I know you're fine. It'll happen. It'll happen.
I'm gonna get on your channel.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now here we go. If you run into the mountains to find God, you'll miss him because you're looking for him in a place. Yeah. If you go to the depths of the ocean and look for him, you can't find him there because before you get there, he's there and gone. Before you can get up in the morning and try to catch him for sun up or sundown, too late. He's been and gone. But yet where he go to is never left the place that you're looking for him in. But there's one thing that you never thought about one place you never thought about looking God for, and that is you, inside you, outside of you, and around you. You are the purpose and destination. You are the final contracts of God. God is the actual you. So I want to talk to you. I don't want to hear nothing from anything else but you. Now, sanction this. Sanction this for the final stamping of the seal. You might as well, and listen, this is going to change your church. Now, some of you guys that go into the churches where they're preaching individual separation and all that thing that could interfere. You're not living right to move God away. You're hypocriting, trying to move God out of your life, and you're constantly on your knees repenting and trying to act God. I'm talking about something, y'all. Be still. Listen. Trying to get on your knees and stay there, to need long prayer vigils. If you're going to have a long prayer vigil, you need to have it with the correct attitude. and the correct knowing the truth. This is the truth that binds and loose dark hells and dark places in your soul. The mind. Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. If you take the mind and try to renew the mind, all you're going to get on the end is a mind. Haven't you had enough of your mind? Haven't you had enough of your false self? Haven't you had enough of grinding an axe blade on a wheel? And the more you grind it, the dull it gets instead of sharp. God set this thing up that you're going through in your life. God set this thing up all over you by hiding himself in you. God set this thing up and you agreed to it in your eternal essence. I rest my case. I got more to go on, but I'm gonna give her something to say. Whatever you want to say, talk about
I'm just waiting to see.
Now,
let me ask you this, and this will help
there
me.
There you go.
You said a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want us to get from what you just said? What is it you're
really I want you to finally see. I want you to get this. This is what I want you to get. Notice I'm saying you can't omit God out of things.
I noticed that.
Okay. What I want you to get is just what I said. It's going to always, the more you accept God as your eternal real self, you're going to strip a bunch of dust and dirt. I mean, it'll look like most of us used to say, the devil will come after you.
Well, so what has been your experience with what you're just saying to us now?
My experience with this is that when I found out about it, there was a part of me that was surprised that what I found out peace was. I thought peace was omitting these mental battles.
Okay.
I thought that if I found God as my union's oneness, that I would be able to have supernatural things taking place.
And all that would clear up.
All that would clear up, but it wasn't. It didn't.
Okay. And then
then I found out that it was not intended for that, and I was deceived in a certain part of me, thinking I was deceived because that didn't happen after me coming into awareness of oneness with God.
So what I hear you saying is you felt like once that you reached that point that you thought there was a certain outcome, and it never turned out the way that you had expected.
It never turned out the way, and when it did turn out the way I thought it's supposed to, it was then that I discovered the ego.
Okay, can you elaborate? You discovered the ego.
I found out.
How? How did you discover the ego in the sense of what did you see it doing to make you discover it?
I found out when I use certain statements and words by knowing, like eternal, infinity, infinite, omnipotent, omnipresent. And when I found out that I was an eternal being, that put me.
Settled that inside.
I settled
yourself.
that, and I gave up trying to use salvation the way I was taught to get this.
And yourself, and when you said the way you were taught, so how were you taught salvation?
I was taught that get the Holy Ghost, and you got to stay filled.
Okay.
You got to stay update on your prayer life. You got to stay update on your Bible study and your
all
moments,
those spiritual
disciplines. And if I didn't do them under the law, they became a law to me.
So if let's say a person who's not been in church with the same message that you have, how would you speak to them? Because they haven't gone through necessarily the same type of spiritual discipline. If
you're having trouble handling this, it's because you haven't gone far enough into it to investigate by letting the obviously be revealed to you of what I'm saying. You don't have to see it the way I see it because it's a private sector of revelatory insight that has to happen. In other words, I want you guys to come out of the trying to make some. You tell me this all the time when I'm back there on the sewing machine. You tell me that you said, why is this bunched up like that? And you would say to me, in order to clear that up, you must relax the cloth.
The cloth has to relax.
And it has to stay. Mm-hmm. So I found out something last night when a family came by to see us with their little boy, that stress is something that is that would cause you to do like this. And y'all see me do this before. Take a piece of paper and tighten it. Stress is what causing you, and fear is causing you to feel like if you don't do something, which is there is a place in there where your VIA work with God, but what I found out in the mystery, the turnaround is these things, most of us call these techniques and principles to be a way of worship, because we got a manifestation one time. Here it is. Yeah, it will show you that you will try to do the same thing over and over again every Sunday, to recapture that
a particular feeling or mood, or whatever we experience at that
and
time.
I picked this up when I used to read a book called Threefold Secret of the Holy Spirit, and I found out that what we are trying to do, we don't cross many bridges, but we got to one where it seemed like there's a stalemate there, and things seem to stop.
Yeah. And we've got some comments.
That's good.
But I think I've gotten to what I think I understand where you're trying to take us to. Mm-hmm. You're actually saying that all of these things we have applied through effort to try to get God's attention, to try to reach some spiritual state, to try to get manifestations, all of those different things that we've done for those reasons has not gotten us there and will not get us there.
Right.
Because most of the time it's ego driven for a particular outcome that we have imagined would be.
It's not going to get us there because we are already there.
We are already there. And you are bringing us to rest.
And this that I'm talking about has nothing to do with the appearances.
Exactly. So now let me get some comments here.
Go ahead. I'll wait.
Hey, Ollie and Sadie, I'm glad you guys came in. Vincent Kelly says, hey, Vincent, he says, your mind is to be merely a servant of the experience and not the pilot.
Okay.
And then he says, oh, yeah, the rituals don't bring salvation. Praying, churching, etc. That's a routine most people do to feel good. Yes. And then Jill mentions being and knowing requires no rituals.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, any more?
No, that's it for now.
Okay.
You want to know if anybody else has a comment. If you do, you know how to do it. Just put it up there.
Jill got one up at the top up there. Always 24.
Yeah, that was based on a comment you had made earlier. Always on 24/7. There's no escaping who you are as the one, omnipresent and omniscient, irregardless of the mind's chatter.
I just saw a vision. You are the ability to see thinking and no thinking. Okay, I'm about to lose it. I have to go back.
Well, I want you, while you're dealing with that, can you go back? You started your whole message today with the energies going down and the energies coming up. So now can you, because I know where you're coming from, but I don't think they know where you're coming from. So can you explain the up and the down? Are you talking about the chakras?
I'm talking about the energy centers. Okay. There's 7 of them, maybe more. Some find it is and some not. And these energy centers is based on, the pattern of this energy center, from what I understand and with clarity, is if you go to the hospital and you're having heart failure, now watch this. If your heart is skipping, and you look at the monitor and the beep is not going boo 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 like your pulse, it's going boo, your heart stopped. What do they use to crank it up?
The electrical.
All righty. What do they do to get it cranked up? Okay. Electricity. The electricity on those pads, stand back, bunker, boom, go. They're cranking you up. I've heard of many times that certain people's heart crank, but it's got some problems like with the fuel pump, or it's skipping, or it might have a fueling or the injector clogged up.
Oh my goodness.
I'm using natural things to explain spirit. Okay. I found out that these energy centers, now I was shown this way 50 years ago, but now it's beginning to unfold itself to me. We are made of the electrical charges, and these centers in us are batteries. These batteries is being charged by food, exercise, whatever it is you need to do to stay in shape. We are what's called something you take out of an object. We pulled energy in our digestive system. What the digestive system does is assimilate it. It purges it inside. Some of it's for the B vitamins and all this other stuff, the natural things. Mm-hmm. But it actually, when I studied this thing, from what I was shown about the heart of Jesus, when he opened his chest and let me see his heart, his chest, I could see 5 colors. And these colors were very bright and strong. And there was no hesitation in the power that kept these lights on in your heart. So when I put this together, I began to find out through medical science and experience that we are batteries. Certain places in us are batteries. When I look at my dog walking or anybody moving, we say this is spirit moving us, or me or I or them or us are moving. But the actual power in there is coming from energy. Yeah. We are energy beings.
Yes.
Dark beings operate out of dark energy. Light beings operate out of light energy. And I'm putting two in contrast. In oneness, all of this is the same. And so what I'm saying, from the heart down is dark energy. From the heart up is light energy and light electrical charges.
I understand. So now why do you say from the heart down is dark energy?
Because as you go into the heart down, you go into the low ends. When Jesus was on the cross.
When you say dark, you're not meaning evil.
No, not evil. No, I'm not talking about evil.
Okay.
I'm not talking about evil. But it is a place in the dark world where evil uses the power of us.
But is there evil? That's
really, it's not. It's not. It's not evil. And that's something you guys have to deal with, because you're going to say, you're not going to tell me the evil don't exist, because it's been all through my family, and I can tell when somebody's mad at me and they did evil things. That is because they are feeding on an energy that gives, okay, where did this evil energy come from to make things look like it happened from the evil side?
What I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys are getting, let us know if you're getting this, because I'm kind of having a conversation with him, because I think he's had some revelation about something, and we're trying to get it out of him, and it takes a while to get those words together so that he can do that. But what I've noticed is there's a state of consciousness. We all have states of consciousness and I'm not talking about evolving to a certain state, but I mean, there are certain moods and feelings and all of those things that we deal with as human beings. And those moods and feelings are states of consciousness. In other words, a person won't kill another person unless it's in their consciousness to do that.
Okay.
It's in their consciousness to
the energy that they're using is
that dark energy you're mentioning, which is coming from the lower chakra centers.
Yeah, the lower battery centers,
which are more of the earth and physicality.
Let's say it like this: you can take a battery, charge it up, and use it to run all kinds of things with it that will accept it. The power of God being your real identity And that energy that he is inside of us can be used to build houses. It can be used to pull the trigger on a gun. It can be used to put a new tire on a car. It can be used to give birth.
So the actual mode of a person is coming from their state of consciousness.
Okay. Did that help you a little bit?
Well, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Now, Buzz says evil is ignorance to the truth of love, and that's exactly right.
You're right.
And Judy says, "Yeah, hey, sis, Judy Jew." She said she understands what's
yeah.
So let us know if you're getting this and what you're getting from it, so we can make sure that we're.
One thing I have to fight somewhat to do, and that is, after going through 50-some years of this mystical side of talking, I run into a lot of people that didn't get it. And so what they would do is take the Bible or something that they could use as a weapon to disregard this. I never disregard them. Maybe I'm creating it because there's something inside of me that won't do. But anyway, let's go on.
Because I know nobody here is
nobody here. Right. But I'm just telling my experiences. So what I had to learn and find out is how to earnestly contend. Meaning I had to stay into the vein of, I had to give up judgments against them, which was feelings, opposing forces that was being used to try to interfere. I had to learn how to receive correction by finding out from that correction God was telling me, giving me another way to say things.
Now they're coming back at us. So good. Vincent said, that's why Jesus said, I can do nothing unless the Father allows. He was literally one with the Father. He became one with God's consciousness. Yes. And then Sandra said she's understanding it. It's Revelation.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that has to be given up in the mystic side of the let me show you what mystic means. I'm pointing to the camera.
The camera's right there.
Okay. The mystical side is the word. Let's say if you're reading something or you're talking to somebody, the mystical side is underneath of it.
Okay.
Can you allow that to be lifted enough where you can see what's underneath of it?
And even when listening to you or to anyone, to not just hear the words.
Yeah, that's right.
But to catch the spirit of what you're saying.
I always tell people, somebody said that I can look in your eyes at who it is. Now, a long time ago, you could tell when I'm going to go back to church. Okay. I could look at when an entity is speaking through somebody, they demeanor, eyes, pupils change, or you'll see a strange awareness in their face.
So an entity meaning when they enter a certain state of consciousness, that emanates that presence.
Yeah. Now, dark consciousness from the heart down, you should be I'll give you a good example. When I was a little boy, being raised around people that sold moonshine, and I use that always because my environment was an asset to me for discernment. After looking at the faces and the expressions, I stood there and I didn't know God. We call it spiritual warfare. When God was training us, you and me, in our physical childhood life. That's the reason why. Hey, this thing is something. Yesterday, this little boy, the parents brought him to us. And they wanted to talk to us. They were part of the church, still is. They told me and my wife that he has some diet thing, problem as a little boy. They had to put certain foods out. And in his food, they had to mix some kind of medication with probiotics. Okay.
Because he doesn't like vegetables.
He doesn't like vegetables. But
most kids don't.
Yeah. But they were telling me and my wife that they could be in a room and put something in what they're going to give him to eat or drink, and he can pick up on it.
Yeah, he would.
I said, what? that little boy, freshly, was about 3 years old.
3. Mm-hmm.
He is operating in discernment at 3 years old about what to ingest in his stomach. I looked at this and I said,
And
what?
he can tell if it's not natural.
A little boy asked me one time, he perceived in some of the places I went doing the Santa Claus at Christmas time. He pulled me on my overalls and he said, "Are you really Santa Claus?" He was discerning my presence in the circle. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that what we're talking about now will change your engine to an automobile, and you won't have to ride around with a hoopty in your mind and drive a Cadillac in the best of equipment that God could put in you. You are the top of the line moving of God. Woo. Oh, Lord of mercy. You are the top of the line. You don't need any extra to have an audience with God, such as a fingerprint. And I need to tell you now that they fixing things now that you have to have your finger pressed on a certain apparatus in the wall or whatever before you can get through the door.
Security
clearance.
Mm-hmm.
You are clear of moving with God in any way you want to and have to and need to. Your whole body is the signature. Your whole spirit is the signature. Hallelujah. Glory be to God. Your whole self, your eternal self. And wait a minute, well, listen to this. Yeah. We think that we got to be regenerated. The only reason why you would be regenerated is because from the heart down, using dark energy or using this warfare stuff, which is necessary in the lower dimensions, that energy is still the stamp seal in your anatomy that gives you interest into any dimension. You are sealed and stamped with all the stamps that you need to go anywhere in anybody's life, anybody's home, and you can do remote viewing and go. I've seen it over top of a building and look down through it and see exactly what's going on in the house. This is your potential. That little boy, he talk. He say some words, and you can catch him, and on the other words, he be cooing. He'll say, "Mama," and he want something from Daddy. Say, "Mama," and then say, "Daddy." Then he go kill it. Everybody kind of come on. I said, "Do y'all understand what he's saying?" No, but they put it together, and he's at the age where he's got a mixture of words that he's been picked up from people talking, and his feeling sense inner voice box trying to say, but he don't know how to form the words. Now listen to this. If you operate as a mystic, you're going to have to learn the different dimensional communication skills that is already in you. And the learning is a part of the mind. There is a place where your mind will submit to the mysteries of your true identity and that true. And remember this, when you discover your true identity, you just discovered the whole universe true identity. Okay, now we come into a place that we are electric beings. When they coming out, they got the electric car out.
Yeah.
And you guys, some of you done heard, I tried to hear one running. It don't run no more.
Yeah, they're really quiet.
It don't, remember, we just, what is it? I said, it don't run anymore.
Because it's power, but it's easy power.
What you talking about?
Yeah,
that thing, I mean.
It's not an explosion.
No, it's running like cutting butter. Oh, Lord have mercy.
So
I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you all the time. That's a song that came up in my heart. Go ahead.
So what I hear you saying too this morning is that there's a easy mode and then there's a mode full of effort.
Yes.
And
below the heart,
yeah,
it's called laboring with sweat of the brow.
Mhm.
Grace from the heart up,
Mhm.
centers in that umbilical cord. A lot of people, when they have out of body experiences or near death experiences, they notice there's a cord that's hooked up to them, somewhere, some at the head and
Mhm.
some out of the stomach area.
Okay.
All I'm doing is taking natural things and my you self, Spirit of God self. Oh Lord, I could stop here now and just meditate on that.
We'll stop
But
right there for a
okay,
second because Sissy's written a book. Look there.
okay.
Sissy's written a book. She says, I noticed that negative conversations or lower vibrational thinking
Thank you.
causes anxiety and affects my energy centers and in turn affects my blood pressure.
Ooh.
I have now begun to watch the conversations I engage in, even the things I watch on TV that affect my vibrational energy. And I learned that food is energy in, and when we walk or exercise, that's energy out. And she says she gets it. Yeah. And it's not about excluding people from your from your space. So staying clear of conversations. It's not about not engaging with people, but it's about engaging with them in a different way, to redirect the conversation to something that isn't that lower energy.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much to stop people and correct them and all of this stuff or stay away, but to actually try to redirect the conversation. If you can't redirect it, there are times when you can't, and there are times you can't get away. You're there, but there is no such thing as you being contaminated. And there are now. Let me ask you guys this: do you think there are energy drainers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
Do you think? What do you think? Are there energy drainers, or are we exempt from being drained of our energy? Is it really true that we can be drained of our energy?
a type of energy draining is
I want to hear what they're going to say
okay.
too.
Yeah.
But you go ahead. You go ahead.
Energy drainers would be like a wire that's out of place,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to get the power of a particular area up to a level,
Mm-hmm.
and something is pulling power out of an object or electrical appliance, and it will not perform to its peak because there's shortage.
Right.
Okay, the shortage that is running in us is it's the lifestyle that we live that's contrary to our conscience. And I wrote something on my paper.
Before you move on, see they're coming in with some things now.
Yeah.
Kelly says that she and James went to A&T last night and they heard a man teaching on physics, and they were talking about energy, the same thing that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sandra says, yes, there are energy drainers. Dee Dee says there are. And then Buzz says, yes, but in an absolute sense, no.
Okay.
Because only when I'm thinking of myself in a separatist mindset can I be drained.
But there is a place. Okay, we're talking about drain now. Watch this now. We're going to switch it around. Your eternal essence is at a level that draining energy cannot weaken it.
That's what I mean.
That's what Buzz is talking about.
Yes, you really cannot be weakened.
Yeah, and that part of you, but all around you can bring you to that point.
Now, Sadie says people can suck the life out of us if we allow them to, and Sadie, you're right, and they can only do that if we're allowing them to push our buttons.
Now, what causes that to stop is when you realize that they're doing that. That automatically recharges you. I mean, hey, it'll be like this. You wonder, why am I feeling so weak? And all of a sudden you catch on to that something is being done to take it from you. Immediately then, whatever they're taking from you is reversed back.
Now, I wanted to say this because there's a difference in energy draining and energy overwhelm me.
Okay.
Because yesterday, little man was such a sweetheart. He's 3 and he's got all this bundle of energy, and he's just constantly wanting to get it out. And here we are, we're older people. We don't want to sit still and be quiet. We just want to talk. We don't want to do anything. So he's sitting there trying to hold this energy, and he can't. It's literally bumping off of him, just everywhere, shooting off him, energy shooting off of him. So when he left, I didn't feel tired, but I felt overwhelmed. With too much energy.
All right, here's the insight that I was given. I wrote it here. Walking in separation is called losing electric power or energy.
Now that's the thing, is when we're in that separatist thinking, that's when we lose our power. We lose our power. Because you really can't lose it. You really cannot lose it. Hey, Judy, she says, I feel we're co-creating our experience. We are not the victim of it. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And yes, ego does it to itself. Pearl says this. Hey, Pearl, she says, good morning. Power companies direct their energies in the way for its highest good to mankind, but we being in energy fail to direct our energies as we start and go through our day.
Right.
That's good.
That's the reason why I give you an example. My body is dealing with sciatic nerve. In other words, my body has got.
Your body's dealing with
low energy. The body has got low energy, and just some kind of shortage in that area. But because my eternal self does not wean from me, it replaces it. So what I have to do in VIA together along with is cooperate, like getting the mind to cooperate. I go rest.
Yeah.
I rest. It's like
replenish.
Yeah, like you go into the restroom and the pressure is not strong because there's some other part in the house is using up the energy, and you can't get it to come upstairs. And so when they stop down here, the energy builds back up, the pressure builds back up.
And that's what Pearl's saying, is that the power companies, they direct their energy for the highest good. And that's what you're talking about.
Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something now. This is the mystical thing I'm going to say. When Eve was taken out of Adam, God, it said, breathed the breath of life into that clay, and he became a living soul, a moving spirit, moving tangible being with a spirit body, tangible, perceivable to the 5 senses. In order for that to take place, there had to be a certain amount of energy force that came from the solar plex area. See, man, the body of that being, as a light being that he was, even from the dust of the earth, that energy in him was transferable. So what happened was Eve was not born from Adam. She was taken from him. His whole body was a reproductive system. Our whole body, spirit, soul, and body is a reproductive system. So now, in the mystical side of it, we were inside of the voice of the Lord in the cool of the garden. That's our voice. We were inside of Adam, inside of God, inside of Eve. So Eve was the first to be born from the clay. But life is the energy that came forth, that brought forth.
And that's what Buzz was talking about. In actuality, we cannot really be drained as life that we are. You can't drain life,
but you can tell the effects of it. So when Jesus or whoever sage in whoever it is, I remember one time I prayed for my mother-in-law and she was having seizures.
This is during the time when Mom was recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And she was still cognizant enough.
Yeah.
So we had gone to a church service, and you were praying with different ones and laying hands on them.
I decharged her instead of charging her.
No, you charged her.
That's what it was? Okay. And I charged her. I overcharged her.
And her brain received that
Yeah.
overcharge.
Oh, it
And
was
she
too.
went
It was.
into an
It was too much.
immediate seizure.
Now you guys understand in some of the evangelical meetings and apostolic and church and tents and things, the miracle healing. Some of it is fake, and some of it is real. But discernment will show you the difference.
So
they touch people, and that electrical charge go through them. I got a lot of information on that here we can talk about.
I know, but we don't have time for all
we'll
of
get back to it. We'll come back to it.
Is that why the scriptures tell us to lay hands on no man suddenly?
That's right. That's right.
Because you don't know what you're doing a lot of times.
You may be wired for 500 volts to go through, but who you touch may not be wired for but 150 volts. So if I say volts.
Yeah.
Every one of us have regulators inside of us that balance out. When type 2 diabetes and type 1, it's an indication that there's something in the body that's drained or blocked from the energy from coming through, the life of it. Yeah,
and my mind and heart just went toward Mama Essie. I know Sharon's on here. I don't know Mama Essie's listening, but my heart is with you, Mama Essie, if you are listening. At the point of her in her life where she is no longer able to be mobile, no longer able to move around. Her life energy has not been depleted, but her body's ability to move has been depleted.
And you guys, I bring this as a point. When you go to the hospital to see people, the reason why you're not in that bed, based on other things, but we just say this right now, your body is charged up enough that you walk in the room and you do have enough energy power in you to recharge them. So when they see you, they say, some of them that's not unconscious, they get a charge, and everybody around the bed is a charge. Like I found out in the mystical side of my dog that these animals, like my dog, I bring something in, she'll smell it because she can pick up the energy in it as to whether it is a danger to us or not. There are people actually in our neighborhood who have dogs, and y'all heard of it, who can detect when a certain person diabetes needs to be checked, or they can smell through senses. They are called care dogs. And our dog check out everybody that comes in or every sound that they hear. But I want to bring you guys into the culmination of all these fantastic functions of our eternal essence. Brother, sister, baby doll, it is absolutely beyond marvel, beyond amazing as to the potential we are in our eternal essence.
Well, I want to say this, and I know our time is winding up. How do I want to say this?
Go ahead, help yourself.
We think a lot of times about having energy that it's going to cause us to be more moving around, more lively, more upbeat, more we have all of these concepts of what that means. But some people are more alive when they're dying. Some people are more alive when they cannot move. They're the life force, actually, because we're more spirit than we are flesh and bones. We're more spirit. So the life that we are, as the physical starts thinning out, there is more life seen in that than there is in people who are up and around moving and doing. And so I don't want to give the impression that when your energy is at the level that it should be, that you're going to be jumping off the walls and have all this desire to move and do all of this. It's not about that. It's about that spiritual energy that comes through all of us. So a lot of times when we're at our lowest physically, we're at our highest in our God energy.
I need to tell, is Laverne still on there?
I don't know.
See if you can find out. I want to.
I don't know.
I have something.
She'll have to respond to me to know.
Vern, if you're out there and you're still with us, give us a response, because I have something real good to tell you, and it can be for everybody else too. Okay, and it's pertaining to your husband.
Okay, now Leslie's asking a question while you're waiting
Yeah,
for Laverne.
Yeah, that's it. You're right, Leslie. That's true. I read it while you were talking.
Okay. Let me read it because some may not understand what she means. I always said I wouldn't fall in church. Now she's talking about in those settings where people have what we call fallen under the power of God,
laying on of hands,
where they lose they just fall under the power of God, and they lay down like as if they fainted. A lady just raised her hand, never touched me, and I went down. Is that the energy you're talking about?
Okay, yes, that is it.
That's the only energy you're talking about?
That's one of them. I'm trying to get to Laverne before we leave, okay? Listen, Vern, this morning about 6 or 7 maybe, and last night, I almost called you, but I said I'm going to wait and online.
And here's Sharon responding about Mommy Essie. She says that her body is slowing down, but she has alertness about herself. That was right.
Right. Yeah. We did try to call her.
Yes,
you
Sharon,
got it twice.
We need to contact you, sweetie. Go ahead, Vern.
Okay. Here it is. Laverne, Johnny is going to have a visitation in the way that he can communicate with Jesus in this that he's going through with his medical situation. One way or the other, I was told that he will be brought to a place either over here in his body or out of the body. He will be brought to a place to make a decision or a choice to come back or to stay over there or stay over here. That's normal. And the reason why I'm saying that to you, and it could mean others here who are in a situation like your husband and you and him in, the presence of God is so strong around him now, but you may not be able to tell because of the
body weakness.
And the same is with Miss Essie, Sister Sharon.
So body weakness is not a sign of low energy.
Yeah. Now listen to this. My investigation into near-death studies is a lot of people in the universe that have had cancer in different ways. What's the lady? Maria Journey?
Anita Majorni.
Go into her on YouTube or whatever it is.
She had a near-death
experience. And she had cancer and it metastasized and it was spreading all over her body. She literally was just bone. She left and went over there and she saw a lot of things over there. And the Lord sent her back because she wasn't finished.
One of the things that Anita Majorni said too is that she realized she created cancer with her thoughts because of the thoughts that she was having. And she realized that those thoughts took her into that dark energy.
Yeah, that's right. There's not anything that we can do noticeable to make this happen. A lot of times it'll happen with us not even being there to see it physically. But I can promise you from my investigation of 50 years of proof producing evidence that no one on this side will leave without having a choice to make either before or after. I had a chance to talk to the brother of this guy that went up on the Wachovia building in Winston-Salem, and he suicided himself, jumped off the building. Before his body, I saw it, before his body hit the pavement, he was out of his body. Now, what he did when he did that, he shut down the channel, which is his suit, for being able to come back with that suit. That does not mean that he will go over there and not come back over here at all. He will always be there with you, Laverne. Your husband will always be there. And I'm asking God, as we speak this in conversational prayer, and one of the reasons why you say to my wife, you can't pray like you want to, and we would talk, because God has switched up on the type of prayer that we're doing now. It's called talking about it prayer. Well, it's called being involved in it prayer.
And one of the things that Laverne said, and I don't think she would mind me sharing it, she said she no longer has time to put her focus and her effort on trying to fix the problem.
Mhm.
But now all of her effort and focus is going on loving in the moment
That's right.
and continuing
Loving
to
and living in the
live
moment.
life
Mhm.
in the fullest as much
Yeah.
as you can
Oh.
right now.
Vern, I'm gonna
Yes.
tell you the truth. I'm on your case,
But that's
but
for
in a
all
different
of us.
way.
And that's for all of us.
Yes, all of us.
Yeah,
all of
because
us.
we're having to do it with your health challenges. We're having to do the same thing.
Listen, Leslie said, "What is?"
Yeah, I already responded.
Okay.
I already responded.
Now, the power of God is enough energy in Johnny and us to fix that. But there's something of a contract that your husband made between you and him and the eternals.
Mm-hmm.
Eternals.
Mhm.
Hold on. I hear the word coming. Eternals. The eternals. The eternals.
What about the eternals?
The eternals is the power, the presence of God that does not wane itself because of a situation. The eternals are his angel, his mother, and the other angels that worked with people in situations like you and him going through are very near at this moment. Your husband will be given a choice to stay or go. It has nothing to do with the condition, metastasizing, or whatever you want to call it. It has nothing to do with the medication. It has nothing to do with the treatments that he had. The key to this thing is that God in his eternal self is there, and we are doing right now what is called conversational prayer request, talking about it. Every time you take him to the doctor on the trip you have to make to Atlanta and all those places, you are not doing that. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. We here on this line, we're not praying for him. We are praying with him through acknowledgement. If we know that he's going through something, or any of us, that means God was involved in it way before our mind ever caught on to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Vern, we used to would take him like that and pray. When you and Johnny was here, I wanted to do that, but the strength to do it, that's the other energy that we're going to talk about later. There's a strength that comes energy.
Well, I know that you were in that mode, but when he was here, and I did pray with him, not so much with words. I don't use a lot of words now for prayer because I know the mind likes to pray, and the mind does not know what's best. And so I choose not to use the words a lot of times, but to put my hand on his lungs and for those of you who are listening, you may not know, and I don't think Laverne and Johnny would mind for you to be prayerful with them about his overcoming this recent challenge that he's had of a blood clot in his lung. So in midst of him recovering from the cancer, he has developed that. So that's why we're talking like we're talking. But when he was here and I put my hand on his lungs, and he was cold and he started to warm up. So what I did was I simply gave him energy.
Yeah. That's the energy we're talking about. That's right.
His body energy.
Yes.
And not only that, it's like I jump started.
Revitalized him.
Yeah, I just jump started.
You became a certain element of nutrition.
Yeah, I jump started his thermostat.
Oh, yeah.
His body thermostat.
Yeah.
And he started to warm up.
Yeah.
So those are things that we can do, realizing your own God power, because Antoinette itself in the physical has none of that, but the God essence that I am inside this body, it has the power to do that. And so that's what I moved on. To
answer Miss Leslie's question about NDE, that's near-death experiences.
Yeah, we already.
Yeah, but she was asking me, said, what is NDE?
Yeah, Buzz already responded to her, and I've already responded to her about it. So she now knows. So when Pastor says NDE, that's what he's talking about.
And there's a whole lot of people that have had that. And right now, as we speak, we're having it. And I always recommend, now there are ways that I found out where you can initiate a near-death-like experience by, And you don't have to be sick, anything wrong with you to have that to happen to you. I've heard of people who have participated with loved ones who left and they went out of their bodies with them, but they only could go but so far. But I investigate into this because it's just something that God put in me to want to know more about what happens on the other side when we leave our bodies.
Yeah. So we love you guys. We will see you again on Tuesday at 7.
Yeah.
And to give to Cornerstone, and we thank you guys for those of you who've been doing that, giving to Cornerstone, because Cornerstone is, as I've said, a still virtual church, and we are still a spiritual community. You can go to the website, the Cornerstone Life Center, just hit the donate button. It's simple as pie. That's what I use. And then you can go to text, or you can use text CLC Greensboro to 73256. Or you can use paypal.me/cornerstone35. And if you don't want to use those agencies to give, you can always mail it. P.O. Box 36259. That's in Greensboro, North Carolina 27416. And to bless Pastor and I, and we've been blessed by you guys giving to us through Cash App. It's really helped us a lot.
Well, we need to increase if we can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's helped us a lot, you guys. Your Cash Apps and your PayPals to us has really helped us
out. That's true.
We've been able to get a lot of things done around the house and get things situated here that are keep the house going. Yeah. Like we just got our shower drain replaced and all that. Jill is asking, when is the next Zoom? I can set it up anytime. I just need to make sure that everybody's email is current with me, and I'll send out an email whenever Pastor's ready to do another Zoom.
Well, I'm ready now. I'm going to do it now.
Not right this minute, but we will set that up. Thank you for reminding us of that, Jill. We'll make sure we set up another Zoom. And I think I was forgetting something. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, we will be back on Tuesday at 7, and then Thursday at 12:30 with Pastor Norman. He's been going in and out of town all the time. He's been out of town right now, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he'll be back with us on Thursday, hopefully. And you have anything else you want to share?
No, I just, again, thank you for the help that you've given to us, and we're praying with you and praying through you. And
right now, hit the like button. Hit that like button right now.
You see what she said about John? She said, thank you. Yes. He has done so much, been doing so much better.
Yes.
His strength is coming up. Okay.
Yes, good. So hit the like button right now. I don't care what you're on, hit your like button. I don't know how many of you are on here, but hit it, because that helps us with the algorithm. The algorithm, if you hit enough likes, we get enough likes, they push us up to the top. So when people start looking for certain information, we'll come up. We'll be at the top of that list. So make sure you hit the like button, okay?
Okay.
We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.